Let's start with implicit differentiation. सबसे पहले तो tell me that I'll present a few. If I ask you for a derivative of x cube with respect to x, there are two things that you need to understand here: the notations themselves and the process of differentiation. So make sure that you understand both. And if you're unable to understand anything, let me know. So what am I asking? Very good. I'm asking you to differentiate x cube with respect to x. And what do you get? 3x square. लिखते जाओ इसको साथ साथ जरा. So if I am asking you the derivative of e to the power 2x with respect to x, what is that? What is the derivative of e to the power 2x with respect to x? Not 2x. Remember, we have already done basic and parametric differentiation, and now we are doing implicit. This is 2e to the power 2x. The power remains as it is, and we multiply by the derivative of the power. And remember, all of this came from the first principle. फिर उसके बाद we made different patterns to understand these derivatives. Now, if I ask you for the derivative of fx with respect to x, what is that? What is the derivative of fx with respect to x? F inverse. No, inverse. F dash x. Isn't that right? इसी तरह if I ask you for the derivative of y with respect to x, what is that? Provided the fact that y is a function of x. No, I'm not asking you why did you differentiate y with respect to y. I'm asking you to find the derivative of y with respect to x. You'll just call it dy by dx. Simple as that. Isn't that the derivative of y with respect to x? Makes sense? The problem है यहाँ तक anything that you were unable to understand? Okay, now following through, if I tell you, so in both these cases, this is what we are looking at, and this is what is important to us in all the next explanations that I'll be doing. क्यों इसमें क्या है? Whatever the function of x is, did I even tell you what the function is? I just asked you कोई भी function है, any function of x, and if you were to differentiate it with respect to x, it's a f dash x. You did not even ask me what function it is, because you did not need to. Similarly, if I ask you what is the derivative of y with respect to x, provided the fact that y is a function of x, so you just told me it will just simply dy by dx. Make sense? Okay, now let's try to understand a couple of things over here. If I have y is equals to x square plus 3e to the power 2x. And if I tell you to differentiate, what is the derivative? Well, first of all, let's differentiate. What do we get? Incomplete answers दे दो. First of all, what do you tend to call that derivative dy by dx? Isn't that right? And what do you say that is? 2x plus 6e to the power 2x. Make sense? Now, just stating some obvious things over here. It is an equation, right? Isn't that right? Yes. What equation के operations क्या होते हैं? If we do something on one side, so technically what you have done, I'll just state an obvious. I'm saying you have differentiated both the sides with respect to x. Is this right or wrong? Makes sense कि आपने दोनों sides को technically you have differentiated both the sides with respect to x. So on the left side, you got the derivative of y with respect to x, which we tend to call dy by dx. And on the right side, when you differentiated this entire thing with respect to x, you got this. Isn't that clear? Makes sense? This was explicit differentiation. Why? Because y is equal to करके लिखा हुआ था. Y was already included. Y was the subject of the formula. You exactly knew कि y as a function of x लिखा क्या जाता है. What is y as a function of x? Make sense? कोई प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं है यहाँ तक? हम्म. This is explicit. What if I could not write it in such a way? I'll go to that as well. Don't worry. Achha, now, if I tell you that there is a function and it has बहुत सारे brackets हैं, but do not worry. There is a function of x and it has a power n, and I'm supposed to differentiate it with respect to x. What will be the derivative? Why dy by dx? I'm not even calling it y. Any function such that it has a power n. हाँ पूरी बात बोलो. as में you have done this in as. बोलो n. Very good. The function remains as it is. The power is reduced by 1 and हाँ तो f dash x से हम मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं. लिखते रहो सारी चीजें. All of this becomes very important because this is where we are going eventually. Did I even tell you what function am I talking about? Whether it's an algebraic function, exponential function, trigonometric function. Did I even mention the function? I just wrote fx. Similarly, carrying on with this, if I tell you that y has a power n and y is a function of x, and if I want to differentiate it with respect to x, how do I differentiate it? Remember, y is a function of x. Y कुछ ना कुछ function of x है. So how do I differentiate it with respect to x? Follow what you have just done before. बिल्कुल उसी का identical काम चलेगा, but you have to be careful and observant what is happening. N multiplies and y, the power of y reduced by 1. Times what? यहाँ तक तो clarity हो. Compare what you are doing when I just told you fx. What is the difference between fx and y? सिर्फ दोनों के लिखने में तो फर्क है. Provide the fact that y is a function of x. There are two different ways of writing it. What were you doing in this case? Exactly the same thing is happening here. I've just written it in a different way. अब यहाँ function ही है ना y है. What do you call the derivative of y with respect to x? What will I multiply it with? dy by dx. This small dot represents multiplication. And this is how I can differentiate y with any power with respect to x. Make sense? Is this clear? समझ आ गई बात? कोई प्रॉब्लम, कोई मसला? Obviously, when you have this notation fx, did you ask me, sir, function क्या है? fx is equal to what? You did not even ask me. Just said whatever function it is, it will be differentiated this way. Similarly, if y is a function of x और मैंने y लिखा है, I'm calling that function y. The entire function of x is being called y. So isn't this how you can write the entire derivative of that function with respect to y? Make sense? Now let's combine the two things. Now, if I tell you to differentiate this with respect to x, now this is an implicit equation. You do not have y as the subject of the entire equation. Y is equals to नहीं लिखा हुआ. Y is a function of x, but वो अंदर ही कहीं है. You exactly do not know what is y as a function of x. You explicitly do not know what y is as a function of x. लिखो इसको. Now, if I want to differentiate it again, what is the concept of differentiation? I just told you. Okay, when we were differentiating this, what did we do? We differentiated both the sides with respect to x. Y was simply called dy by dx because that is what the derivative of y is called with respect to x. And this we individually differentiated with respect to x. Make sense? So now if I tell you to do the same thing over here, differentiate both sides with respect to x. Can we do this? Let's do one thing at a time. So if I tell you that x, what am I doing? Differentiating both the sides with respect to x. So let me write here differentiating. So the derivative of x square becomes 2x. Is that right? Remember, when things add or subtract, so we differentiate each one of them individually. If there are five things that are adding or subtracting. Now, if I need to differentiate y square with respect to x, how do I do that? Bolo, that will be, that's it. See, y is a function of x. I do not explicitly know कि क्या है y is equal to कुछ है x का function. Or whatever it is, 2y. And then what? Go back to this. What did we do? कोई भी function था हमारे पास as a power n. So you said n, the function remains as it is, the power reduces and then multiplied by the derivative. What about y? If y is a function of x, but we do not explicitly know what it is. So, very good. We will multiply it by dy by dx. So this is just the function of the derivative of y square. Make sense? Now what about xy? What is the operation between xy? क्या हो रहे हैं दोनों आपस में? x and multiply. Are both of them functions? Yes. Very good. We will have to apply up the product rule in this. What is u? X. And what is v? Y. How do we apply the product rule? U. You can call it a y dash भी कह सकते हो. It's not wrong, but y dash को और क्या कहते हैं? dy by dx. And y multiplied by derivative. And what about plus 7? What is the derivative of 7? What is the derivative of a constant? 0. The derivative of a constant is 0. So do you understand this, that the product rule was applied over here? U into derivative of v plus v into derivative of u. If you want, you can make the data on your own and give it a try. Is this clear? Now, this is just the first bit. If I want to make dy by dx the subject of the formula, then what? All the dy by dx containing on one side, 2y dy by dx minus x dy by dx is equals to y minus 2x. Now I can simply take dy by dx common. 2y minus x is y minus 2x. So what is dy by dx? Or the gradient of the curve is y minus 2x upon. So these are a few steps that we need to do after differentiating both sides with respect to x when catering implicit differentiation. Clear? Does this make sense? Anything that is not clear till this point? बता दो मुझे. Clear? Hmm? Okay. Now, I want you to attempt these two parts first. So, if you would have differentiated this on both sides, what would have been the derivative of 4x cubed? 12x square. What about 4y cubed? 12y square into dy by dx. What about minus x cube, y cube? We will have to apply. What will we have to do? Product rule. So I can say that the derivative u into derivative of v minus x cube. And what will be the derivative of y cube? Minus 3y square dy by dx. Minus, क्योंकि बाहर minus हो रहा है, either I keep the minus aside and then apply the product rule, or I can say my u is minus x cube and my v is y cube. सही है ना? So y cube will multiply by the derivative of minus x cube, which is 3x square. So this is how I will get my derivative. Now, सारे dy by dx containing terms on one side and the non-dy by dx terms on the other side. Dy by dx taken common, and this is what we should end up at. Make sense? Yeah, good. What about the other one? Same thing, the derivative of 1 is 0. The derivative of x square is 2x. The derivative of 4x cube y square is, what will we do in this? Uh-huh. How will we differentiate? Product rule. 4x cube will multiply by the derivative of y square. And what is the derivative of y square? 2y dy by dx. And that will end up getting me 8x cube y dy by dx. Then y square will multiply by the derivative of 4x cube, which will end up giving me 12x square y square. And then 3xy, again I will apply the product rule. 3x will multiply by the derivative of y, which is dy by dx. And then y will multiply by the derivative of 3x, which is 3. Makes sense? Again, all dy by dx containing terms on one side. Take it as common and make it the subject. Now let's do एक past paper question, one of the past paper questions, so that we can understand how do we use the implicit differentiation and what does the question wants us to do. Okay, for that, first read the question. What does the question say? ताकि आगे पता चल सके what we need to do. Yes. Let me know when you're done reading the question. The equation of a curve is x, y, bracket x plus y. 2a cube, where a is the non-zero constant. It is not a variable. It is not a function of x or anything. It is just a constant. The two variables are y and x. So that there is only one point on the curve at which the tangent is parallel to the, what does that mean? Tangent parallel to x-axis, what does that mean? What can we imply from this statement? Parallel to x-axis. How will it look when it is parallel to x-axis? So what is this called like this? What is this called? Like this? What is this called? Which kind of a line is this? Yes, gradient is zero. ये भी straight line है बेटा. So do not just, the horizontal and vertical are not the only lines. Diagonal lines भी होती हैं हमारे पास. That is, for a horizontal line or line parallel to x-axis, the gradient is zero. dy by dx is zero. Make sense? The question is asking me कि पहले तो show कि there is only one point when dy by dx is zero, and then find the coordinates of that point. How will we do this? अभी तो x y and x plus y, the three brackets are multiplying. तीन पे तो product rule will become very difficult for us. So what is the easier way? क्या करना चाहिए इसमें? बोलो. Yes, we can expand the bracket, open the bracket. What do we end up getting? बताओ. X square y plus xy square. लिखते जाओ साथ साथ. Or else it will become very difficult for you and you'll say, अब क्या करें? Then what? Product rule on both. So differentiating both sides with respect to x. How do we apply the product rule in this? What is u? X square. And what is v? Y. So u multiply by the derivative of v and then plus v, which is y, multiplied by the derivative of u. And then again for what about x y square? What will we do for x y square? Again product rule. X will multiply by the derivative of y square. What will be the derivative of y square? एक चीज मिस कर गया. Yes, the derivative of y square is 2y dy by dx, and for y square to multiply by the derivative of x is 1, and for 2a cube what will be the derivative of 2a cube? So yes, it's a constant. So what are the derivatives of constants? Not a variable. What is the derivative of 5 cube? What is the derivative of 125? What is the derivative of 125? What is the derivative of 1? Yes, it's 0. It's a constant. So derivatives of constants are 0. 2a cube likha hai, so it's still a constant. If I write 8 as 2 cube, still a constant. Yeah. Getting it or not? 2a cube is a constant. The derivative of a constant is 0. Now, do we need to make dy by dx the subject of the formula, or can we just manage it like this? Not necessary. We know that dy by dx is 0. तो इसी जगह पे can I apply dy by dx is 0? बिल्कुल. I'll save myself some time and I'll say dy by dx is 0. So whatever is multiplying with dy by dx, वो भी 0 हो जाएगा. I'll just write it for your satisfaction. 2xy plus x into 2y, yeah, 2xy into 0 plus y square. Make sense? What am I left with? Y square and चलो इसको इसी सीक्वेंस में लिख देता हूँ. 2x y plus y square is 0. Then what? Y taken is common. 2x plus y is 0. So we end up getting two solutions. Either y is 0 or y is negative 2x. But the question says we have to prove that there is only just one point. If I put y as 0 in the original equation, what do I get? What does the left side become? अगर मैं y को 0 plug in कर दूं in the original equation, 0. But the question said, is this true? Is this possible? Is this possible? Non-zero constant. And the question clearly said that a is a non-zero constant. That meant that left side cannot be equal to 0. So we will reject this answer that y is equals to 0. This will be rejected, discarded, and this will be y is equals to minus 2x. But here this is an equation. The question is asking me the So y की जगह I'll plug in negative 2x, x square into negative 2x plus x into negative 2x का square. I've plugged it in the expanded one. Do not worry ये कहाँ से आ गया. Expanded में मैंने y की जगह I've plugged in minus 2x. What do I end up getting? Minus 2x cube plus 2 square is 4x cube, which is 2a cube. Is that right? So 2x cube is 2a cube and the value of x is a and the value of y is minus 2x. X की जगह I'll just plug in a. The value of y is minus 2a. So the coordinate is a comma minus 2a when the tangent is parallel to the x-axis. Is this clear? Clear है?